And in your books, you all have this diagram. This is going to be the meat of our program tonight. Broken down into topics, we've got basically 9 steps in the selling process. Number 1 is a commitment objective. And when we say commitment objective, that could be anything where we want the customer to say yes. That could be agreeing to a meeting, agreeing on our product, agreeing to buy our product, agreeing for us to do a training, anything. Anything that we want them to say yes to, that's our objective to get their commitment on. So we have a saying, if you don't have a commitment objective, you don't make the sales call. You don't just drop in on people. You don't just show up uninvited, unannounced, just to shoot the breeze. These people are very busy, they don't have time for that. So you have very, very pointed reasons, very direct reasons for meeting with them, and you get their agreement. It's respectful, and it just happens to work. People skills. You know, the old saying is, we make a lot of buying choices, all of us do every day. Who we purchase our cable service, television, telephone, our food. You know, we have certain notions of how we want to be treated and who we decide to give our business to. And we typically buy from who we like. We're not going to buy a car from somebody we don't care for. We're not going to have an ongoing relationship with the telephone or cable company if we don't care for the service they provide us. So that's probably the most important step, is that we sell ourselves, we build rapport, and we really become good friends with our customers before we try to do anything. There's a saying that if you want to get the customer to commit to a $100,000 sale, you need to build a $100,000 relationship first. And that can take you months. Asking the best questions. This is where many salespeople get caught up, and they get caught, and they don't do this step first. See, we get so wrapped up in showing up and throwing up. Basically, whatever's in our bag, we throw out. We don't have a clue what the customer needs, but we just throw everything at them. We start talking. We can't shut up. We need to ask questions. We have one mouth and 2 ears, so we should listen twice as much as we speak. And we ask questions based on what our experience has been, what customers generally need, and get their feedback and take that to either the next question or into a trial close to get to basically have the results that they need. You don't ask the best questions here. Back when you get up to asking for commitment, you're going to find that you're going to have all these objections coming up, and you should have handled those in the question stage. If you have asked the appropriate questions, you've got answers you feel are appropriate, you move on to number 4, which is agree on need. And if you've asked the right questions, you know what they need. At least you know what we offer them that they probably need, or they should need. And you get them to agree on it, basically by, through everything, Mr. Customer, that we spoke of in our question and answer session. It seems like you need this. And you could wedge that in any way you want, but basically you want to get them to say, yes, that's exactly right. Because if the more they say yes, the more they're apt to say yes when you finally ask for the sale. Then you move into the company. Okay, you sold yourself, you've asked the right questions. Now you talk to them about how the company can fit their needs. And our company is a strong company. We've been around for 80 years. We know what we're doing. We have tons of testimonials that we can provide our customers. So that's the kind of thing we want to be able to tell our customer. Anything you need with regard to us being able to stand behind our name, we'll do it for you. And then we sell the product. And through our question and answer stage, number 3, we tell them which products that we have that best fit their needs. And by asking all the right questions, we're going to have that information. And then number 7, we ask for the commitment. We ask them to buy. And there's any number of ways to do this, and we don't want to be thought of as sleazy, hard salesman type sales reps. We're partners with them, and it's not like we're trying to get them to sign the dotted line, but we do want them to say yes, and we want to deliver the product. That's what keeps our machine going. So we ask for the commitment. We've done everything right through stages 1 through 6. Number 7 should be a given. Or we would basically go back. If we did miss something, we go back to number 3. We start asking more questions. Okay. And then once we get the commitment, there's that old feeling of buyer's remorse. Well, we want to confirm the sale. And the way that we confirm the sale basically is to schedule a future event with that customer. Especially if we're going to be installing a piece of equipment, we definitely want to have that on the books. We want to do everything we can to get the product into their business as quickly as possible, and then do a follow-up to make sure everything is working. Okay, we don't want to let a piece of equipment sit in the laboratory while the customer hasn't opened the box and then they never use it, and all of a sudden they send it back. We want to definitely schedule that with them so they feel comfortable that we're not just going to sell and run. We're there for the long haul. Part of us being key account managers, we basically inform our customers that's our job, is to be with them, through everything. But we definitely want to confirm the sale. And then number 9 is replay the call. Basically, take a mental note of everything you did throughout the call. Things where you felt that you did really well, things that you felt that you could have done much better, and debrief yourself in your car or in your office quickly while it's still fresh. Write everything down, and so that you can copy all the successful parts and change all the parts that need to be changed. And that's basically the process of action selling. Okay, let's see. And I'm not sure how we're doing on time. Probably
We've got about 3.5 minutes.
Okay, I'll go through this quickly. Basically, we have several milestones, commitment objectives, and I'm just going to run through this. You can read it, and it's in your book as well. But we make the initial contact, and the commitment objective for that contact, for that milestone, is to set the meeting. Once we get the meeting, we meet with the initial contact, and we set up the meeting. The next commitment objective is to ask for a meeting with the decision makers. Once they say yes to that, milestone number 3 is to meet with the decision makers, and we get a lot of information there. We set a meeting to present the proposal. That's our 3rd commitment objective in this particular sequence. Number 4 milestone is the proposal meeting, and after that proposal meeting, we want to secure the order. That's our commitment objective. And the 5th milestone is the product delivery, and then the commitment objective is to determine future business opportunities. And that may change. Future business opportunities may lie in different departments where we have to go back to milestone number 2 and meet with new people and go through the whole thing again. But when you look at selling, it's more of an orchestrated event or sequence of events. And really one thing can't come before another. And if you follow the 9 steps in action selling, you'll be a very successful salesperson. So to conclude, the importance of relationships really cannot be overstated. If the customer doesn't like you, they're going to find every reason on earth not to buy from you and to go with your competitor. So we definitely want them to like us. And everybody in this room is very likable, so it shouldn't be a big deal. The topics will be covered. If you haven't read the Action Selling book, read it. It's a quick read. You'll love it. It really makes sense. It opened my eyes to selling. And use those skills to implement this practice into your territory. All right. Any questions?
No. Great points.
Well, I actually have one question for you. We recently changed the key account role.
Mm-hmm.
And some of us took on territories of maybe ex-associates or other associates that are no longer with the company.
Yes.
And we might have, basically, how do you deal with it when somebody might have a bad taste in their mouth about our company because of a prior representative or somebody else they dealt with?
That's a good question, and Beth is referring to when we went from being territory representatives to key account managers, and I experienced this where we had a representative that really, he's no longer a representative with our company because of the fact that he was very abrasive and people didn't like him. People asked him not to come back to their businesses. To answer your question, the way that you handle that is you have to really, really handle it with kid gloves. And basically, do not be pushy. You have to call them, try to get an appointment, just meet with them. You don't want to push anything. You just want to basically rebuild that relationship the best way you can. Some relationships you can't rebuild, and you have to wait for the business to change and have new management come in. Other relationships you can't, and you just have to basically be there for that person. Anytime they call you and they start to believe in the fact that you're actually different than who you followed, and it takes time. A bad relationship. People are very vocal about bad experiences and bad relationships, much more than they are with good relationships and good experiences. So We just take that into mind. It's not personal. It's not that they don't like you, dislike you. They dislike the company that you represent, but you can change that. It just takes time. Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
Good
yeah, that's some good points. The time, I think the taking the time thing is what.
Well, you're right. We're under a lot of pressure as
Yeah.
key account managers to make things happen. But you just have to realize that nothing's going to happen by being pushy.
Right.
Unless that particular customer absolutely needs something that we sell that they can't get anywhere else. We have some of those products, but if they are not in that situation or in that need perspective, then they're not going to come to you by you being pushy. They're only going to come to you by them liking you. Okay.
Great.
Anything else?
No,
I've been trying the 9-step process myself after having read the book, and
Okay.
I'm a little bit newer in the selling industry, and so
Yeah.
it's been kind of an interesting. I have to speed it up. It's a little more lengthy for me. I see that I'm dragging at some of the steps. So,
Yeah.
And yet it is a process. It takes time.
It is. Yeah.
well, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank
All right.
you.
I think